Good morning to all of you. Welcome to Legal Matters by Sai Babu Sankara. This video is also exclusively for the law of tort students. Friends, we are discussing the general defenses. In the last class, we discussed the defense of inevitable accident, which cannot be expected. Now, we are going to learn another such more serious general defense called as act of God. Act of God. In legal language, we call it as vis major. Vis major. Lastly, I will tell you what about force major. That is in contracts only. As far as the law of torts is concerned, vis major or act of God will be a good defense. What is act of God? So ultimately, you have to believe in God or supernatural power in whatever manner you like. So it is an irresistible force. It is an irresistible force which can't be prevented. Even in inevitable accident also, you may foresee some accident may take place, therefore you will take precautions. Here you cannot do like that because you cannot expect it or you cannot foresee it. An extraordinary circumstance which can't be foreseen, which you could not foresee. Like examples, tsunami. Till 2004, even I did not hear the word tsunami till it attacked Singaraikunda of Prakasham district. We don't know that. Even I did not hear the word. That was the first time I heard the word. Storms, earthquakes, volcanoes or volcanic eruptions. Like very recently, it happened in Java Islands, Indonesia. Likewise, Hudhud cyclone in 2014, it hit the entire Visakhapatnam. Right. Likewise, they are the examples of the act of God. Please remember, if you are able to prove that the act of God is a justifiable defense, then definitely you need not pay any compensation in the shape of the so-called unliquidated damages. Now, we'll go for examples. Nicholas versus Marshland. It is a very beautiful case, Nicholas versus Marshland, which occurred in the year 1876. Right. Here, Mr. Marshland, he has constructed certain artificial lakes. Yesterday in the class I told you, artificial lakes maybe for running a rice mill or for having water during the rainy season to his agricultural lands, things like that. Normally they construct artificial lakes. So actually he has erected very good bunds also. So the bunds are enough to face the ordinary rains. So very strong bunds he has created and they are enough. But still there were continuous downpour of rains or torrential rains, and due to which marshlands lakes were filled with water, and ultimately on one fine day they breached. They breached and they have washed away 4 bridges belonging to our Nicholas. So 4 bridges, of course, at the time all of them are private properties. Nowadays bridges will be constructed by the government. Right? So they were washed away, 4 bridges of the plaintiff, and it caused very much loss to him. He filed a suit, but the Court of Appeal, it went to the appeal court also. The Court of Appeal actually appreciated the defense of Mr. Marshland, stating that it is an act of God. In normal circumstances, even though there are airy rains, this can't be done. But due to the strong force or unforeseen activity, irresistible force, which is called the act of God, then we can't help it. So it's a very, very good defense. No damages are awarded to the plaintiff. Right. So normally in such cases plaintiff would get damages. Here, since you are able to prove the defense, no damage. Then second, it is a negative example. Next 2 are negative examples. Ramalinganadar versus Narayan Chettiar. This is 1971. Ramalinganadar went to city in Tamil Nadu and he purchased certain consignment or goods necessary for his business or something. He ordered them or he booked them in the freight or in the transport company of this Narayan Reddyar. So Ramalinganadar, he has booked his consignment in the transport company of Narayan Reddyar. But time was going by, they did not reach the destination. The consignment did not reach Mr. Ramalingam. Ultimately, he asked him, he said several excuses. Ultimately, he said, somebody committed theft of the same, I can't help. Then Ramalingam filed a case against the transport company belonging to Narayan Reddy. You know the defense taken by Narayan Reddy? He said, during the transport, while the material was coming from the destination to Ramalingam place, what happened is the goods were robbed by some unruly mob. The goods were robbed by some unruly mob, and it is act of God. So some hesitation might have been going on. These people, the lorry driver might have tried to ram through the mob, and definitely they might have looted the property, whatever it is. So the defense is that it was act of God, but the court did not agree, because the police may recover the property from the hooligans. When a case is registered, definitely it is the duty of the police to recover the property. So you can't say it is act of God. It is the mischievous act of persons. Mischievous act of persons, definitely it is a criminal liability, and police will take recourse. So it is not act of God. So definitely holding the destructive act of the mob cannot be considered as an act of God. You have to pay compensation. This is the result. Next example, Krishna Bus Service Limited versus Srimati Mangli and others, 1976. So Mangli's husband and some other person by Wazir Sultan, so many of them boarded the bus number DLB 5749 belonging to Krishna Bus Service. The day was a very rainy day. The road was not good. That road was very slippery. Right? Whatever it is, the bus was going maybe at the instance of passengers or whatever it is. But due to the sudden application of brakes, due to the slippery road, the bus overturned, and husband of Mangli and Wazir Singh and so many others, some of them received injuries, some of them died also. So here the defense, the bus company took the defense of act of God, stating that there being the rain on the fateful day and the road was slippery, due to which the bus was overturned. Will you accept? The vehicle was inspected by the motor vehicle inspector, who stated that due to the improper maintenance of the bus, this incident happened. The Supreme Court dismissed the appeal, holding that the accident was not due to act of God, but it is due to the improper maintenance of the bus. So definitely compensation has to be paid to Mangli and others. Not accepted. Negative example. So lastly to say, actually force majeure. Force majeure, it is just like act of God. It is an event which neither can be anticipated nor controlled. You cannot anticipate it, you cannot control it. Just like COVID-19. Did we expect that this spread of coronavirus will be there? So if there is an agreement and the agreement could not be, the performance of the agreement could not be fulfilled due to force majeure, so definitely it can be accepted in the law of contracts, of course not law of torts. So acts of nature, sometimes acts of people like floods, hurricanes, riots, rightings and strikes, war, etc. They are examples of the force majeure. Force majeure is more than the act of God. Please remember, force majeure is wider than vis majeure. Right? In the case of Dhanraj Mal Govindaram versus Shamji Kalidas and Co., the difference between act of God and force majeure was and actually tort and force majeure. Tort and contract was clearly established in the case. Of course, you need not worry about this, just you hear the word force majeure. So COVID-19, you can say it is an act of God or force majeure. If you ask me, I will say it's a force majeure. But in tort law, if you are able to prove that he could not perform the duty to COVID-19, it is accepted. So very good examples. Please read them and enrich your legal knowledge. Next time we will come up with some other topic. Thank you very much.